Here's what guys, so here on my channel I do a variety of different shows. I make short films, rants, comedy skits, and way more. And among some of those, I also make reviews. I make reviews of movies and of technological devices. Like for example today, where I'm looking at yet another camera. Today I'm looking at the Sony SLT-A58. But before we get into the camera and what I think of it and how to use it, I thought I would just show you how it films. Alright, so up until this point I have been recording with my iPhone 6. And now I'm recording with my Sony SLT-A58 camera. Mark the difference? Yeah, I thought so. Alright, so my recording settings are at this point like this. I have my ISO set at 400. I have my white balance set at daylight. It's set for manual film mode, and I am filming in 1080p with 30 frames per second. The lens on this camera is a standard 18-55mm lens that came with the camera. The camera cost me about $550 US, which is 500 euro and about 350 British pounds. Alright, so before we get into this camera and how to use it and what I think of it, I thought I would just show you me unboxing the camera. I filmed myself packing up the camera as soon as I got it. I have added delightful background music to it, courtesy of YouTube's audio library, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, now let's dive into the camera. It's very easy to use. All you're going to need is A, a camera, 2, a charger, and 3, hands, which have arms attached to it. Simple! Alright, so you power up the camera and you set it to film manual mode. We'll just do that for this video to show you. Alright, then just go to the menu by pressing this button. Now the menu is very easy and manageable to work with, unless it's on its period. Anyways, here you will be able to set the most basics on this camera, like recording mode, file format, and a bunch of other stuff that I don't know what does. The drop-down menu you'll use most for recording, especially YouTube videos, is however right over here. This is where you can control what the buttons on the camera do. So for example, let's set the ISO button to white balance and click out of the menu. Then we click on the ISO button and voila! You can now see the color in which you want to shoot in. These are the most important as you use this tool to make the recording look professional and smooth. But however, there is one more feature that you need to make it look cool and smooth and YouTube coming out mode, which is the focus. You can control the focus by playing with this thing right here in the end, as you see. Now I sound like one of those lame masturbation instruction porn videos, don't I? You want to make the background blurry, but be careful, or you might end up blurring everything. If you want to make it easier to find the perfect focus, then put the camera far away from you, and then zoom in, and then twist it, and make it look awesome. That way the camera will think you're just an object, and it will be easier to frame it correctly. By the way, Tumblr, you should really complain to the DSLR companies. Their cameras make you look like an object. Alright, enough about how to work the camera. Let's get into my personal opinion. I definitely think this camera is worth the money that you pay for it. But like Einstein says, everything is relative. That's also what I say to girls when they see me naked. It's relatively big. Anyways, this camera is relatively worth the money, especially compared to the earlier review of a camera I did where I reviewed the JVC GI HM600 camera. Remember what quality that shot in? And that cost between $2,000 to $4,000. I'm giving this camera 4.5 out of 5 stars, but that is mainly due to its use for me. If you're making amateur films and would like to give them a professional look, or if you do a lot of vlogging, this is the ideal camera for you. Also, the unique thing about Sony's newer cameras is that the quality is not in the lens, it's in the camera. So the idea is that you go out and you buy a $5,000 camera, and then you can just put a standard lens in it, and it will be just as good as if you have went out and bought a $5,000 lens, which I think is a pretty cool thing. The reason why it's not getting 5 out of 5 stars is simply because there is no flippable screen. You can bend the screen, sure, but not flip it around, which makes it very unhandy to shoot vlogs like this with it. And that's because it's just impossible to frame myself perfectly. This has already messed up some of my earlier recordings, but besides that, this camera is as good as perfect. Alright, that was it for me this week, you guys. Thank you so much for watching my review of the Sony SLT-A58 camera. I have, of course, left a link in the description to where you can buy this camera. Also, if you want to see side-by-side comparisons of a camcorder and a DSLR camera, then click right here. It also proves my theory that DSLR cameras are better than camcorders because they are made for photography, so there's much more colors, and there has been paid way more attention to details. But anyways, enough about that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Be sure to subscribe because it's free, and I will see you next week. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Bye. Alright, so up until this point, I have been recording with my Samsung Galaxy S3 phone, which is my primary camera, and now I'm filming with my JVC LG HI600 Pro HD camera.